Hi, my name is Kate Featherston, and I would like to share some thoughts with you about creativity and the art of living we call psychology. The intersection between these is of great interest to me as a writer, a psychotherapist, and as a human being. I'm also interested in supporting you as creative beings. Whether you are working on music, writing, visual art, psychology, or another field of study, allowing yourself to grow is in itself creative. And if you are interested in human development, spirituality, or in fostering community and family relationships, these too call for the flow and risk taking of creative endeavor. I will be speaking to all of you as artists, for we are the artists of our lives. First of all, creativity is a basic human need. Human beings have been making art, inventing, and creating since before recorded history. Maslow, one of the 20th century founders of humanistic psychology, envisioned a hierarchy of human needs, beginning with those needs focused on survival, for example, food, shelter, sex, and safety, and moving on to needs focused on community, connection, individuation, culture, spirituality, and self-transcendence. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, in his book Creativity, Flow, and the Psychology of Discovery and Invention, notes two aspects of creative endeavor. Quote, "What makes us different from chimpanzees with whom we share 98% of our genetic makeup is our language, our values, artistic expression, scientific understanding, and technology. These are the results of human ingenuity." The second reason creativity is so fascinating is that when we are involved in it, we feel we are living more fully than during the rest of life. Creative expression provides a profound sense of being part of a larger entity than ourselves. Creativity and psychology are different, but related. Psychology depends on self-awareness and the ability to self-reflect. In other words, to use language or other means to understand ourselves better while focusing on ourselves in a conscious way. Creative endeavor decreases self-consciousness and allows us to, quote, lose ourselves, unquote, in some activity or exploration. And yet, both of these relate to each other in that they promote curiosity and our need as human beings to explore freely. At the intersection between our self-awareness and the desire to create lie certain principles I would like to talk about, and I welcome your thoughts on any of or all of what I'm going to say. Several years ago, I heard a lecture on the properties of water. Some scientists were trying to get water from the top of a mountain to the mountain's base, and the common wisdom said a big straight pipe would move it most quickly. That makes sense, doesn't it? Point A to point B, no muss, no fuss. But the result turned out to be that water traveled more quickly when left to find its own free-flowing pattern than when piped in a straight line. Turns out, water twists internally when it moves, so a winding path aided its speed. My own sense of human growth is that we too need to meander. I'm not saying get rid of goals. I'm saying that to achieve goals often involves allowing ourselves to veer off the path, to explore and get curious, and to play. In my experience as a psychotherapist, I'm constantly aware that people can't immediately come in and say what's really bothering them. People need time to unwrap and to reveal, both to themselves and to another human being, what they really want and need. That's why the charge to be with the client where they are and not where you think they should be is so important to the practice of therapy. But we need to understand and express ourselves, and for this, art is very immediate and helpful. For us as human beings, trying to know and accept ourselves means facing some very difficult aspects of human life: suffering, loss, death, anxiety, and uncertainty, just to name a few. Being alive is stressful. And yet, as Barry Lopez said, sometimes a person needs a story more than food or drink to stay alive. It is often art that gives us a context to understand the meaning of our lives. But I would like to talk for a minute about stress, about well-being and the relationship of those to creativity. Life is often stressful, as I've just said, and stress is often understood to be a very negative thing. But stress is also the positive force known as joy, passion, and curiosity. So here's one way to look at stress. The father of system theory, Ludwig von Bertalanffy, was a 20th century biologist who sought to find a way to explain principles in psychology and in social systems through understanding how biological systems worked. This quote from his 1968 work, General System Theory, speaks to how human development requires some positive stress. Quote, "There is a wide range of behavior and presumably also of evolution, which cannot be reduced to totalitarian principles of adaptation of the individual and survival of the species. Greek sculpture, Renaissance painting, German music, indeed any aspect of culture, has nothing to do with utility or with the better survival of individuals or nations. Also, the principle of stress, so often invoked in psychology, psychiatry, needs some reevaluation. As everything in the world, stress too is an ambivalent thing. Stress is not only a danger to life to be controlled and neutralized by adaptive mechanisms, it also creates higher life. If life after disturbances from outside had simply returned to the so-called homeostatic equilibrium, it would never have progressed beyond the amoeba, which after all is the best adapted creature in the world. Amoebas have survived billions of years from the primeval ocean to the present day. Michelangelo, implementing the precepts of psychology, should have followed his father's request and gone into the wood trade, thus sparing himself lifelong anguish, although leaving the Sistine Chapel unadorned." End quote. Bertalanffy points out that creative endeavor is not explained by survival needs. Sometimes making art can be a lot of trouble. Look at Michelangelo. Yet without the ability and willingness to actively seek out certain kinds of stress, we'd have no art, no culture, and probably human beings would have chosen to stay amoebas.